Born ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fifth best podcast this week about cycling. It's the Gruppetto 2.0 with me, Chris Pritchard, and your boy, Cameron Jeffers. Welcome to the studio.
This is it.
Anybody watching on YouTube will be able to see that we are in the home of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show.
We are. It exists. It's a real place.
It's a real place. It's good, isn't it?
It's not just a green screen.
No, actual real place. So, Cameron, how have you been?
I've been good, mate. I've been good. And I think I want to take this opportunity.
Oh, hello. Have we got a sponsor?
No, that's a nice little segue. Because what I wanted to say is, if you enjoy these podcasts, feel free to head over to iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or just give us a 5-star rating. Tell the people why you love the podcast, because at the minute these podcasts are a logistical nightmare, aren't they? Like, last week you came up to my house. This week I'm down at your house. But for those people that don't know, we live about 2.5 hours away from each other, which, by the time you drove down and back, it's a full day. So, if we could get a sponsor on board to help with the costs, help with the cost of the fuel and our time. And there's no publicly available kind of stats of how many views podcasts get. So the only way a potential sponsor can look at us, if they see that we've got loads of 5-star ratings, they'll think, all right, this is a decent podcast. Maybe we'll give these some money. So
rubbish.
Didn't work.
I'll turn it down.
Facts. There we go.
Facts.
So yeah.
Good point that.
If you enjoy it, leave us a 5-star rating. And
so maybe, we were
next time we'll have a sponsor.
We were going to be up in Manchester today, but that didn't work out, did we? But we still have a guest. And we're going to be bringing him in shortly. Currently, he's probably just sat in his pants next to his phone, just waiting to get onto the podcast. But before he does, news story that came out, it came out on my show yesterday. I want to get your take on this. Oh, the other thing was, someone left a comment last week saying that your audio was rubbish. And I think it's because I think you're a bit too scared of that mic.
Do I need to get a little bit closer?
Yeah, I know it's cylindrical and quite thick and girthy, and you don't like to get your mouth too close to those kind of things. But yeah, just ease into it a little bit. You
just sound like you got a little bit more experience. Facts. For those of you who can't tell, we've got a new button on our keyboard this week. Facts.
Lance Armstrong announced that he is doing a training camp over in Mallorca. It's only open to 12 people. If you want to be part of that, you have to pay $30,000.
What?
Yeah, 30 grand. What do you think to that?
That's mental, isn't it?
It's crazy.
But then again, he's obviously direct. His target audience is your well-accomplished middle class or middle-aged upper class male at 30 grand. They're not gonna.
Oh, they'd spaff that in a night.
They wipe their ass with that kind of money. So. For you and me, for any normal person, that's a ludicrous amount of money. But if you are Bill Gates, you drop 30k on a bottle of water.
Would you?
Maybe. Facts.
Maybe not.
To be fair, he's a billionaire for a reason. He's probably doesn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Everyone with money seems to hold on to it pretty well and throwing it at 30 grand. But the thing that got me was like, what's stopping people who want to go to Mallorca just going out there and then just joining their group rides? Because you can't say, excuse me, no, you lot can't ride on this public road with us. So like the access, I guess, is at night and before you go out on the ride. But during the ride, anyone can just do anything.
Maybe like if you're not part of the ride, you'll go up and say hello to Lance and he'll just blank you. Doesn't speak.
You paid your 30 grand? No.
He goes, show us your wristband.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to join the Cameron Jeffers and Chris Pritchard training camp, £7.80.
I was thinking like 10k.
Oh, 10k?
10k?
Yeah.
10 of them, 100 grand, 50 grand a piece.
Yeah, people love to pay that to ride with us.
But no, I think if people pay it, then
exactly. But
play.
A lot of people in the comments were like, "Don't be a dick." Shall we get our first guest on?
Let's do it.
First and only guest here.
First proper guest.
Yeah.
I mean, Mon was a guest, but
we were scraping the barrel. We didn't have anybody else to pick.
Yeah.
So, although the comments were obviously great and positive for Monica, and a lot of people want her back. So eventually, we will be getting her back.
She's actually getting pretty good, like in front of a camera.
Oh yeah.
And mic.
What?
That's thinking about this.
Oh dear. Anyway,
let's go. Let's keep rolling.
Let's introduce our first guest. Why do I keep saying first guest? He's the only bloody guest. Cam, introduce him because you're going to be getting along with him quite closely this year, aren't you?
I am. 2019 National Hill Climb Champion, Mr. Ed Laverack. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm freezing cold here, sat in my pants.
Told you, I knew he'd be sat in his pants.
Where are you, Ed? Where are you?
I'm at home. Nothing special.
Oh, that's not very exciting. We were hoping you were going to say some sort of exotic training camp.
Not quite. No, it's grey outside the window. It's typical Welsh weather. You guys know you were in mid Wales not long ago.
Yeah, it was grim as F, weren't it? It was horrible. So, Ed, where do we start? Where do we want to start? Give us a little bio on yourself for a lot of people that don't know who you are in terms of your racing and your YouTube career as well.
Well, I started cycling when I was about 14, 15, and I kind of did quite well on the junior circuit, shall we say. I kind of came third in the Junior Tour of Wales, which lots of people kind of give it a lot of credit for being a big race for juniors. And then I signed for GLT, or what was then Rafacondo GLT, and I was there for a long time. Probably one of the longest serving riders, but also quite young. I left when I was 23, 24, obviously when the team folded, and just been floating about, going up hills as fast as I can, and documenting a bit of it on YouTube, which I've kind of enjoyed. It's been something, I think Monica touched on it last time, it's something to do in your pastime. It gives you a bit of creativity, a bit of an outlet, and I just find it a really good thing to do in my downtime. And
I think you touched on it briefly there. You said you one of the longest serving riders in Rafacondo, and I think you'd probably be up there with one of the longest serving riders on the same team. You know, you're there for 6 years. Why do you think? And typically we see on the domestic scene, you might spend a year or two at one team and then you move onto another team. So why do you think you spent so long at Rafa, which then became JLT? Do you think you just became part of the JLT family, and did you get on with John? Why did you spend so long there?
Yeah, it's a combination of all those things really. But John was to a certain extent a father figure to me. When I signed, I was only 18. I hadn't been in the sport for very long, and he kind of wanted to develop me through. Well, I guess they had quite a good system and setup from just being on the scene for so many years up till then. But we used to lots of riders used to do big stints where we'd stay over at his house between races. He's a great cook, and we'd often put on a few kilos while we were staying at his house. But we would have a really good laugh on the team, and it would be well run. I think lots of people would have said from the outside that it looked like a very professional setup, and I think as well we had, because of the background of the team, we had lots of contacts and sponsors, and a lot of those things help you get into races. Yeah. But particularly when we went to Japan and Korea and places like that, a lot of the invites from those races would come through word of mouth. So we would finish the race, the week race, and then John would be approached by the organizer, and he'd say, "Good showing by your guys. How do you fancy coming back next year?" And I think, because we had GLT and GLT were very good to us and sponsored us for quite a while, we were able to say with quite a bit of confidence that we'd be back next year. Yeah. And it was great up until a point, and then always, good things come to an end.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know, obviously, my team manager, well, your team manager now as well, Steve, he spent a couple of years at JLT, and I know he's told me when he's approached different organisers, UCI races abroad in France and stuff, they know him as, from his days in JLT, and he knows John because of that, and he's still very highly respected. And I know that we get into some of the, for example, I think it was GP Parentiers a couple of years ago, because Steve used to be on Rafa and they've done that in the past, sort of thing. So
yeah, agree with you.
What's happening this year then, Ed?
Well, this year is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. We're racing with Saint Piran.
Woo!
Looking forward to that. And of course, I'm doing some special things, I hope, with my new British Champions jersey.
Are you going to be a British champion that actually gets to wear this British Championship jersey
and holds on to it?
Well, I wasn't even referring to that, but as soon as you've said it and we brought it up, yes. But no, normally like like track riders. I know when Swifty won his Scratch World Championship on the track, never got a chance to wear his rainbow jersey. So you're looking to target races that are going to allow you to wear that and show that off.
Yeah, well, funny you say that, because when I won the under-23 British Championship, I never rode for Great Britain, so I never got to wear at least some form of stripes to go with that. But then, this year I'm going to be doing a mixture of the hill climb season, which will be a big focus. I'll have a lot more time because I won't be racing the Tour of Britain, so I'll be able to do Great Dun Fell. Possibly the struggle, because I think that clashed with the Tour of Britain. I can't really remember last year. So there's a few events in the UK that are like up north that I really want to do, and there's obviously other events where they're outside the UK, but there's nothing really saying that I can't wear the stripes, but I probably will wear stripes on a jersey, even if they're just like round the arm, just something very small, just so that it's not like a big skin suit with blasting the bands everywhere, but just something that I can wear. In warmer weather, really. In the sun abroad.
You definitely should wear something to acknowledge the fact that you've been and you are a current British champion for sure.
Listen, Ed, I've seen a few. Obviously, when you did your announcement video saying that your plans for this year and your race team for this year, I saw a few comments asking you, why you stepping back a level, but it sounds like, talking to you now, that you don't necessarily see it as you're stepping down a level. You kind of it sounds like you just wanting to do more stuff other than racing your bike on a Sunday morning. I spoke to a lot of people regarding the decision, because as you can imagine, it wasn't an easy decision. Yeah. But then even when I think about it now, the kind of, it's not even pressure, but I feel like there's almost this relief that the only races that I'm technically missing are the Tour of Britain and the Tour of Yorkshire. And I know there's obviously other UCI races I could do abroad. And I mean, again, going back to it, but we were very lucky at GLT that we could travel to Canada and all these places to race. But with teams in the UK now, it's very like, well, you don't get a race. You might get to Belgium for a weekend or something, but
you might do, yeah. And again, you might like get a little stage race in France, but it's not something that again turns me on, so to speak. But it's very. I don't feel like I'm missing out. It doesn't even feel like I'm stepping down a level, because let me tell you, I mean, like Saint Piran, a very, very good caliber team. We've seen that, I've seen that from the outside, being on other teams and watching you guys grow. Yeah. To me, it doesn't feel like stepping down. And the same support we get at Saint Piran is actually what I've had the last couple of years anyway.
Yeah. So Ed, obviously probably Cam knows all this already because he's in it. But was there an offer to carry on with Swift for this year?
Yes, there was.
All right. Okay.
Fair play.
Yeah, that's like
it's a ballsy move.
It is, because you know 100% you're not gonna, if you go to Saint Piran, you're not gonna ride the Tour of Yorkshire, the Tour of Britain, and that's the stage where a lot of people can actually make a name for themselves and move up. But you've obviously realised that that's not for you, and you're happy to make that decision. But and go full balls deep in with Saint Piran.
But I think also, Ed's obviously still pretty young. He came in at a domestic level very young. So this is not as if his career's coming to an end now.
No,
he's stepping down a level. I'm more than confident that this is only the start of great things, Ed. But I wanted to ask you, do you ever kind of think, obviously for those people that don't know Ed and that are listening, you're obviously a climber, you're British hill climb champion, you're very skinny. Do you ever think that you'd be better off suited living somewhere like Italy or the French Alps and doing some of those races down there, some of the French nationals and in the mountains and stuff?
Yes, I've thought about it, and I mean, I enjoy racing in the UK. It's a very hard style of racing. It's much like Northern France.
Yeah.
In a way, there's punchy climbs. There are some longer climbs. We've done the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
We've done even the one down the South Coast Classic on Beachy Head. That was actually a really hilly race overall. But then for me to move, it was actually when GLT folded, Rafa Connor GLT folded, and I was kind of on the verge of joining Swift Carbon then, that I was putting videos out on YouTube. People could kind of sense that I wasn't quite aware of where I was heading. I didn't really know what to do, and the possibility of going abroad cropped up then. But it's always been, I can't really answer the question because it's one of those if buts maybes. Like, if I moved abroad, would I be able to climb with the Italians or the Spanish? Like, am I capable? I mean, you look at my numbers, you could probably argue yes, but then would the lifestyle suit me? Would I? I mean, would, but it's like, there's lots of things, like, it's easy to say moving out there and I've got the numbers to back it up, but then, it's a difficult time in my life now with, like, Charlie's about to graduate from 3 years at uni. Are we going to move into a place? Are we going to, things are just happening. So it's not just a case of, this is my career, this is my life, I'm willing to drop everything for it. But then, on the other hand, like what I'm doing this year, I could argue that this is probably bigger than moving abroad and doing racing for a foreign team. Like, if I accomplish what I set out to do this year, arguably that's bigger than winning races in south of Europe. I know it's a funny way of thinking about it, but that's why I find this year so exciting. Like, I'm excited to see where I'm going to be stood in November.
Yeah, that's a pretty mature outlook.
Yeah, very mature. Yeah,
that's
women.
Is it too mature?
Women. Yeah. no, it's probably bringing the level of maturity up, Ed, which I dare say a lot of listeners would actually require. So yeah, that's really interesting. I like that. This is just going off the cuff a little bit. What is your favourite climb? What is that one climb you think about going to? Either one you've done or one you'd really like to nail?
One I've done that stands out and that I've kind of worn it thin the amount of times I mentioned it, but Mount Fuji, when we did the Tour of Japan, was absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been compared to, like, the Zoncolan in Europe, and it's such a, if you see like the bird's eye view of it, it's almost like a dead straight climb for 3 or 4K, and then there's literally no end of switchbacks to the top, but it's very steep, and there's like a middle section of like 2K section that averages like 13% or something, and it's one of the toughest climbs I've ever done. I've done, I guess, a longer climb in the Tour of Portugal a couple of years ago, where Lampia was actually racing for GLT at the time as well. But in the UK, like, I've not really found a climb that I really love. I mean, I could say Hato, but
oh, come on, Ed.
To be fair, there's someone, because I'm not a fan of steep climbs. I'm not a fan of short steep climbs, but actually they're the ones I quite like to just ride up. I don't like racing up them, but I like riding up them. I find them just like, I mean, you tell stories about those climbs for years and years, but we have like some hidden lanes around here that are just super steep. And of course you've got some up north as well. the struggle I rode up there when I came up to the Lake District last year. And it's just like, you start off obviously like in the villages, and then when you get to the top, it's such like a barren landscape. But it feels like you're in a completely different environment.
Yeah, it's horrendous. For anyone listening that's not done the struggle, it is bloody horrendous.
Not for Ed though.
Not when you're 50 odd kilo. Have you done it, Chris?
No, no. It's not on the Fred Whitten, is it?
I think it is. It Ed?
I don't think it is, because we filmed and I walked up a few.
Think it is.
I would not ride any of those hills in the lakes. They're just crazy. But I think we should. I think because me and you have talked about this, Cam, for a long time, challenging each other to win its pass.
Win its pass.
Win its pass. I reckon that's a good hill that we might stand a chance of beating Ed on.
No, not a chance.
Do you not
Why?
Because it's only short.
It's not short. I rode up it last week when I was staying at Mon's house. It's not short.
I reckon we could.
Nah, not a chance.
I feel an e-bike race coming on.
Oh yeah, I go on an e-bike. Unless we handicap it.
Yeah,
we handicap it.
Let's like work out like the distance divided by kilos, and we'll handicap it.
God, I'll be like a meter away from from the top. It'll be like one pedal turn, yes, and it'll still beat me.
Leave a like down below if you want to see that happen.
No, do not, because I don't ever want to take on win its pass again. That's it's grim.
So I want to talk about an article that came out today.
Ooh, hello.
The Cycling Weekly article about how try and quickly get it up.
You promoting other people's websites on our show?
I'm definitely not. It's a magazine, isn't it? Formally. About they posted an article of how British Cycling axes TV coverage of British Road Series. They said that they spent nearly $1 million over the last 3 years and it is underperforming, so they're just going to axe it. What do you reckon, Chris?
Well, first off, if it's underperforming, then they're not doing it right. So British Cycling are paying £1 million for this broadcasting
over the past 3 years.
Over the past 3 years, so
$300,000 a year ish, bit more,
to get these races out. And it's, well, with all due respect, the coverage is can I say it? Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah,
it's not very good at all.
And I'll say that. Yeah, I'll say that as well. I remember, I guess you see it more when you're actually in the race. I remember a couple of races last year, like Lincoln, that one down in Bristol, the Tour of something, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, classic tour or something.
No, and like so much happened in the race, and they had, obviously they've got time constraints, but they've got to cut it all down to 30 minutes because they have 30 minutes of the men's and then 30 minutes of the women's over a 1 hour period. But like, there's only so much you can do in 30 minutes. There's only so much of the race. So they'll literally like show the start, then they'll cut to a couple of interviews, then they'll show the last 5K, and it's like, what that was a 180 kilometer race. I remember that race. Me and Steve were in the front group of like 30 guys. He was in the leader's jersey, the points.
I remember that,
jersey,
yeah.
And he punctured. And because the race had split up so much, there's groups all over the road, so there's no neutral service car with us. So I looked behind me, I was like, shit, Steve, there's no car. Like, do you want my wheel? He's like, yeah, stop. Took my wheel out, gave him my wheel, and unfortunately it was like a different, I think he was on a disc brake bike and I was on my rim brakes, and you're like, oh shit, this ain't gonna work, is it? So the race was over for both of us. But in the highlights, you didn't see any of Steve's puncture or anything. So
I mean, the presenters are great on it.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
get me wrong.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, what? Don't axe it. How is that gonna? And Ed, pick up on this one. But how is that gonna progress the sport? How is that gonna get the sport out to a wider audience, especially in Britain? Saying this is the kind of caliber you can work towards kids. So
I'm gonna say
this is what you can do.
I'm gonna say 2 words here: social media.
Ooh.
Oh,
what about it?
Fucking utilize it.
Oh right, I see. Wow, Ed, what are your thoughts on that? You're obviously involved in the racing scene here in the UK. I mean, we could have a whole podcast for an hour on the UK racing scene.
We could, yeah.
But
I mean, it's definitely not what it was when I started in 2013. I'll tell you that right now. I don't want to like
facts.
Sorry.
Like, I think, again, this is just my humble opinion, but teams need to be open-minded about how the sport is evolving, and how can they bring brand awareness. And I think I was speaking to somebody at the Cycling Time Trials dinner last weekend, and it was all about, I mean, Russell Downham was there as the giving out the awards, and we were just chatting about things, and he asked me what I was doing this year, and we go on to this kind of subject, and what I kind of gather is that a lot of brands are seeing that there's a greater ROI, so return of investment, from supporting one rider. So you give one rider, 2 bikes and 2 sets of race wheels and one lot of race kit and all the rest of it, instead of giving a team of 15 riders 30 bikes, kit, everything. And what are you getting in return? Well, let's face it, you're not getting anything in return. If you're talking about TV time, that's like 1970s talk. Like you're saying, well, we've got to get in the break for sponsors. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. We get in the break for sponsors. If we don't get in the break, we're in trouble. Or we could just take a photo before the start of our jersey, post it on the internet, 3,000 people see it, and that gets more coverage than us getting in the break.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so outdated, and I get really annoyed that riders don't do enough for their teams on social media when it's free advertising.
Yeah.
And as long as they believe in the product, like, don't get me wrong, like, if the product is crap, to a certain extent, like, it's not just about, like, it's what you believe in as well. And I think, brands are seeing that individuals, like you, Cam, as well, you reach people at the ground level, you speak to people in the language that they want to hear, whereas, it's kind of like where Sky did the ocean rescue thing, because they almost had to do something that would speak to a wider audience rather than just, coming out to people supporting a bike race. They're actually supporting ocean rescue. Obviously, they're now supported by Ineos, so we'll kind of scrub over that. But.
So, Ed, do you think that potentially this axing from British Cycling is a good thing if they then look at it and go, right, we're old as fuck here, we need to bring in some young blood here and actually put this money that we'd spent on the TV time into pushing it out to social media? So having live updates via Twitter, live updates via YouTube with smaller highlights packages. Do you think that could be the way to go to reach the audience?
It could well be. I mean, I think we could brainstorm all day long. It's great that they've got Eric Rosal on board to at least, they've got somebody who knows what the sport's been like for the last 10, 15 years, seen how it's changed, what needs improvement. He's on the ground level. So the more people you incorporate from that, the better.
Yeah. But I also think we'd be much better off if we had more of like a. So they have it quite a lot in mountain bike teams, for example, the Steve Pete Syndicate, where riders bring kind of their own personal sponsors on board to a team, and the team provides the platform and the outlet for them to race. Because I think a big issue in the UK is definitely at the elite level, when you're not getting paid, everyone is kind of put onto the same level. So everyone gets a race bike, everyone gets 2 sets of shorts or whatever the case may be, and X amount of nutrition, and it basically values everyone the same, when realistically that's not the case, especially nowadays with social media. Like, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but in terms of a marketing tool, me as over just someone else who races the bike every weekend and they're good at it, and they get the odd result, it's completely different, right? And it's like, don't know what I want to say.
Unfortunately, I think some teams, from what I've heard from, hearsay, some riders here, some riders there, even like staff, like I've spoken to mechanics who've come from some teams, and there's almost this sense that some teams are, I'm quoting somebody, but suffocating their riders from doing the job they're supposed to do, which is to be competitive. And I think that as soon as you take that away from an athlete, then they no longer become what they wanted to be. Like when they first started cycling, when they first started doing whatever it was that they wanted to do. As you say, like 95% or 99% of people in the UK racing for a team don't get paid.
Yeah.
So then where are they going to get their living from? Like, can they go and source their own sponsors? Can they buy their own bike to do something on? Can they do gravel racing? Well, if a team says, no, you are 100% committed to our contract and our brands and our sponsors, then you are in effect, and I quote this person I was talking to, suffocating the rider, and therefore they do not want to race for that team. They probably don't want to race at all, and then end up doing something different. But I think it's a difficult one. Like for me in my situation, like I bought my bike from Taforsi to race on in the hill climb because I wanted to take the event seriously. And I spent the last kind of number of years on a team bike, and I wasn't able to source my own bike until this came along. And obviously the event really suited me, and I wanted to give it everything. I was either going to do it properly or wasn't going to do it at all. So I had to source my own bike, and that went against kind of what the contract said in a way, but it's. Sometimes you've got to pull the punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you have to say, okay, like I'll take the hit, but if this is what it takes, and this is what it takes, and unfortunately, and I've been told by people in the sport that the contract at this level, continental level, is not worth the paper it's written on.
You've got a contract there, and I don't know about your personal situation with the team, but I dare say that there was a lot of those riders that weren't getting paid. So there's a contract there for what? There doesn't need to be absolute bullshit. The whole system. I don't know how it is abroad, but the whole system here in the UK is absolutely on its arse. There's no two ways about it. You've got people who are prepared to ride for a free bike and some free kit. And then you've got people who have made a living out of it all of a sudden going, right, where's there's no cash anymore. This is screwed.
Yeah. But that's it. Like, but so did you feel like you were more kind of committed to the national champs because you'd physically use your own money to pay for this bike to have the best, lightest bike possible? Or were you committed anyway?
Yeah, I was committed to that event as much as I was the morning of the event as I was the year before the event.
Right.
The commitment never changed. What I wanted to do, and like, I'm empathetic. Everybody's in different situations. So what I'm saying is, my personal situation, I'm not privileged. I want to do what I want to do and enjoy what I do. And the situation with the bike was, I have to make a change. I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. And if I'm being held back by a bike that weighs 1.5 kg to 2 kilos more, then quite simply, Paul Double is going to win and I'm going to come second. I'm not going to lie.
Ed, you sound like the Rowan Dennis of Wales. Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
But it's not like I'm not having... it was just something I had to do. It wasn't a case of like I'm going to stick one on somebody. I'm doing it on purpose. It was just a simple fact of I need to source my own equipment to make myself go faster. And whether I unbrand it or do whatever, like I just have to do it for this one event. And bizarrely enough, and I want to make this clear, what I've achieved there has actually turned the tables, and I couldn't believe that by winning that, it's made such a big difference on like my last kind of 2 or 3 months, with people approaching me, the messages I've received, the support, like, and then choosing this path now this year, people have said like nothing but good things, and they just said like, it's good that you're doing something. You're not just kind of following that routine and that system that a lot of people get not sucked into. But I was told you don't owe anybody anything. Like, don't feel like you have to be loyal to the British cycling teams or the system. Like, you can come back and race for teams at, you know, an elite level or a continental level at any time. But, like, always remember that the flexibility you're given is the most important thing. And you have to do what's right for you. And I know it's cliche, but, you know, especially, you know, I'm a little bit older than Cam. I'm 26 this year, and it's like, you know, I am actually coming into my prime now, I'd like to think. And a lot of guys, like Phil Guyman, for example, who's been to World Tour, and now he's come off that, and he's, you know, doing YouTube, doing like Strava KOMs and stuff. But I'm almost doing like the opposite. Not that I'm going for Strava KOMs, but I'm doing something with a British cycling or British champion jersey that I've always wanted to do, and I might not ever get a chance to do.
Yeah,
I like it. Fair play.
Yeah.
I like it because this is also, because you documented it on YouTube and you've got your YouTube channel out there, that it's going to what you're doing now is probably going to inspire way more youngsters to actually get out on the bikes and do what they want to do, rather than look into that system that's already broke and seeing you a couple of times on the Tour of Britain or the Tour of Yorkshire and not really understanding who you are and what you're going through. But with your YouTube and taking on these challenges that you want to do, there's much more inspiration and motivation to other people to go and do it.
Thank you, Chris.
Pleasure. Thanks. So everybody, make sure you subscribe to Ed's channel if you've not done already. Better content than what's on my channel. Not pretty as good as Cam's, I'd say.
No,
it's a different. You can't.
Yeah, it's completely different.
You can't compare
animals. I'm not going to.
Can't compare it.
But I will.
Different animals. What animal would I be?
You'd be. I'd say you would be like a tiger.
Yeah.
I see you as a tiger.
You think I'm vicious?
Yeah. Stalking.
But
really soft if you scratch your belly.
I roll over my back.
Yeah. And I see Ed more as like a.
He like creeps around, and then when he wants to go, he goes.
I think he's like a not necessarily a wild dog, maybe like I don't want to say ferret, but something small and like pew pew pew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Snake.
Like a snake. Oh.
Yeah, but snakes are people.
I was referred to a number of times during my time at JLT as a snake in the grass.
Ooh. That's not a good thing though, Ed. That's not a compliment. That's like, oh, here he is, the snake in the grass.
I think I want to briefly touch on, obviously we can tell from talking there about the National Hill Climb Champs, you like to take things kind of on your chest, and the way the script's written, you like to do it differently.
You like to take things on your chest.
No, is that not the right analogy?
I'm not sure.
He likes to do
not in my head.
I mean, like, you know what I mean. He likes to do things differently
on his chest. He likes I don't know.
Right. Okay.
This is unfair. I can't see you.
Yeah. So you obviously you like to do things a little bit differently. You're obviously very, very dedicated to the sport. And I know because Steve once told me a story that when you were out racing the Tour of Portugal, you would weigh your honey in the morning. Have you always been kind of that disciplined and dedicated? And if so, where has that come from?
Wait, sorry, Ed. You weighed out honey.
I used to weigh my cake at the cafe.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So you can get like little weighing scales for cocaine, I'm guessing, but like
I don't know. Maybe that's what they were used for. I just found them in my dad's cupboard
with clear bags next to them.
Yeah. The same scales you'd use for coffee and things like that.
Coffee, that's better.
You can take. Yeah, edit that bit out.
That's all right.
I used to weigh the cake at the cafe, but that was ridiculous. I was at a point. I think that was 2 years ago, maybe. Not that it was unhealthy. I'm gonna put that out there now. Because you see a lot of stuff on social media nowadays. Riders coming out that I don't know, they've got like
eating disorders.
depression from eating disorders, things like that. And I've never once got to that point because it's never meant like I've always done it for the fun. And the eating was like, well, you eat to kind of train.
Yeah.
But I was out of curiosity. I wanted to know, like, how heavy are these brownies that they're serving us? You know, like how many calories are in these things? So just for general food and knowledge. But the I guess the dedication comes from like when I switched from playing football to cycling, and the reason I got into cycling was because it looked like, because football is very much a team sport. You kind of train with your team 2-3 times a week. You might do the odd session yourself, but like at my age, you know, I was under 15. It was very much training in groups, and from what I could see from cycling, it was very much, even though it was a team environment, you were very much in charge of your own fitness. And for me, that was quite like, I was like, wow, so I can choose how fit or how slow I want to be. My dad is quite, he comes from like quite a hardworking background. He's an agricultural contractor, so he works on the farms and things. He leaves the house at 7 a.m. and he's back at like 8 at night, and I rarely ever see him. But I was almost brought up like helping him and things like that. And I never once, like when I was getting up before college and going out on the bike and training at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, so I could do a morning session and an evening session. I'm not recommending it, but that's what I was doing, and it didn't seem weird to me. It was just like, oh, well, my dad's like getting up and working in the freezing cold all day outside, and it's like, well, you know, how hard is this sort of thing? So that kind of, I guess, follows into other things that I do. You know, the nutrition, the discipline on race day, and yeah, just everything really.
Mega. Wow. And can we just say that if you're going to the cafe and weighing cake, even though that sounds strange, the fact that you're eating cake proves you don't have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
If you're eating cake at the cafe, life is good.
Sweet.
Right, I think it's time we wrap this up because I know Ed is busy for the rest of the day.
And we were 15 minutes, someone was 15 minutes
late.
I
can't believe, Cam. You are unbelievable. Listen, Ed, give everybody a shout out to your YouTube channel and your Instagram, your Twitter. Let everybody know where they can find you and what you're up to.
Pretty easy to find me, to be honest. I am at Ed Laverack anywhere. No uppercase, no lowercase, no numbers, nothing. And yeah, simple, same as YouTube. And I hope for you guys listening, like I can help you in some way this year. Send me a message. I'm always free to help you. And I hope, I don't know, maybe you can improve your climbing time by watching me this year.
Do you think he's talking to me there?
No, I don't.
I have some sprinting tips.
Yeah. Don't listen
fair
to
enough.
me.
Fair play.
Don't watch what I do. Right, Ed. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Cam, have you got anything to say to Ed?
Yeah, appreciate it, and see you at the races.
Yeah, teammates. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Ed Laverack, the legend, the British National Hill Climb champion. Thanks for listening, Ed. Even though you weren't listening, you were being part of us. I'm not finished. I just want to round up the podcast. I was just turning Ed down at the same time as I was playing music. So, Ed, feel free to put your phone down now or carry on listening. What a lad.
Yeah, wow.
Are you looking forward to being his teammate next year?
I am actually, yeah. He's a nice guy, and he's just a nice guy. Like,
it's not the first time you've been teammates, though, is it, really?
Oh,
start of this year. We didn't even touch on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to. It's a very touchy subject. But Ed assisted you. So, if anything, Ed was part of that crew. that cheating crew that everyone likes to talk about. Oh, did you see, before we go, sorry, everybody, did you see on, talking of cheats, on my, you won't have because you never watched the channel, but someone on, you know, my drops video that I made about having loads of drops on Zwift and being able to buy everything and testing all the products.
Yeah.
Someone left a comment on there and it was called the virtualcyclingupgrades.com. And someone's created this website where you can go on and pay him to up your score and give you X amount of drops or level up your Zwift rider.
How expensive is it?
It's like 25 quid for the ultimate upgrade, it said.
I heard a funny story. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but there's a funny story. There's a funny allegation going around that I paid in excess of a few £1,000 for my Ant Plus simulator that I got my
For
Tron
real?
bike. Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't want to give the lovely gentlemen any airtime. But yeah, apparently I can confirm no money was spent. I didn't. Whatever.
Well, it was me that did it, and if that's the case, then where's my money? I didn't really do it.
Do you remember when it came out? Everyone thought it was you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right.
What a podcast. I enjoyed that one. Thanks for listening, everybody. We are back with another guest next week. Who's it going to be? Nobody knows.
Is that because we don't know?
Yeah, we don't. Yes. Thank you very much, Cameron Jeffers.
Thank you, Chris.
Let's see if Ed's still on the line. Ed, are you still there?
Of course I'm still.
Ed, thanks very much, and we will see you at the races soon. Everybody else, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, follow Ed, follow Cam, follow me, and now everybody is off for a massive...